Did it? There we go.
Yep.
Eureka!
There you go.
All right, now I just want to make sure we can hear. I'm a loudmouth myself, so you can probably hear me. I want to make sure I can hear you.
Test 1, 2. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you, but it's faint.
All right, you be getting a little closer here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, how do you record?
It's recording.
It's recording.
It's recording. I want to make sure. All right, well, we're just going to do it. I can hear you. I'm hoping the volume is good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, great.
You hear me great? Okay.
Yes.
So Ricky Morton, how are you doing, man? You've been an entertainer for a long time. You've been a sports athlete for a long time. Let the audience out there know, because they already know, but let them know who you are.
Well, no, but listen to me. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on your show. And that was pretty funny anyway. You know what, dude? Matter of fact, this Wednesday, I'll be 67 years old.
Wow, man. You don't even look it.
I have been wrestling for 50 years.
Wow.
Been part of the Rock and Roll Express since 1983. So that'll be 41 years coming up. I wrestle my son now.
I've heard you talk about Kerry.
I'm a second generation, and Kerry is a third generation. If you're familiar with Memphis wrestling, my dad was the bald-headed referee that had all the tattoos on him before they were cool.
Right.
And that's who I learned from. And
what was the guy's name?
I've been in a business. I said my dad taught me. And
your dad?
But
what's your dad's name?
Beg your pardon?
It was Ricky Morton. So you're Ricky Morton too. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm sorry, buddy. We got mixed up somewhere.
Well, no. I guess what is the volume? So your dad is also Ricky Morton. Your dad's name?
No. My dad was Paul Morton.
Bob Morton. Okay.
Yeah.
And I should know that because I'm a wrestling.
But I'm a
wrestling aficionado, so I should know that.
Yes, and I was second generation, and Kerry's third. He's still a senior and in college. That's why I won't let him sign with I won't let him go out to himself until he gets his degree in college.
Right, of course. That works. So let's get right into it. So you started wrestling in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling? You started back in the early 80s, or was it like the late 70s?
No, I started wrestling for Nick Goulas, 1970. Let's see, I think 1977.
Mm-hmm.
I wrestled for a promotion named Nick Goulas. He ran out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
But I had my very first match when I was like 16 or 17 years old.
Okay.
But my first territory I ever wrestled, and this is very cool, was in Hawaii.
Hawaii?
A guy named Ed Francis. Here I am, 18 years old on the beach of Waikiki, living like there was no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I was over there with a guy named Don Morocco, Larry.
Yes, Don, we know about Don.
And, Ed Francis and Russ Francis, which were ex-football players. But, man, what a life I had being there. I was there with Armando Guerrero, too.
I've heard that name.
Yes, Hector and Chavo.
I know Hector. Yeah, Hector. Yeah.
Brother. They were one of the Guerreros brothers. But, Armando taught me a lot. Because I was still green as owl shit in the business. So I just went there to, and had great, man. It was, and to now.
So you got into it, and Don Morocco, what's your opinion of Don Morocco? Good guy?
Well, listen to me, dude. And this is the way I live life. I treat people the way they treat me. Do
unto others as they do unto you.
He was the greatest guy in the world to me, so I can't say nothing bad about him. I mean, it truly, if I would have told you, if he would have treated me like an asshole, I would have treated him back like an asshole.
So that's that's pretty much the way it is. I mean, all you guys, you treat people. I mean, the fans, they get outrully and yell and scream and whatnot, but you were a baby face, so you were liked all the time.
Well, you could say I was liked all the time, but
well, I mean, like all the time. I mean, yeah.
And this was one of the greatest things in the world. You got to understand when our business changed. Most territories had these big guys that weighed 400 pounds, and they didn't do that. And all of a sudden, here, me and Robert are going in this territory with two young baby faces.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and then you start drawing girls.
Yeah.
When you start drawing girls, you start drawing guys to come to it. Now, a lot of them was a little jealous, but when they got to know Ricky Morton, they love Ricky Morton because, I let them join in the party. Come on, man, let's go have some fun.
Let's go have some fun. Let's go have some fun.
And that's what it was all about.
Yeah. So, yeah, you had a lot of ring rats. You had a lot of girls in the back waiting for you in the back room.
Well, buddy, how can I answer that without getting myself in trouble? I never did nothing to nobody that did wouldn't want me to. Okay, put it that way. But you really got to understand this, and guys don't. We were actually rock stars, buddy, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, when you go and I love saying this, and I'm proud of myself for this because back then it was territories. You didn't have guaranteed money. You got paid by how many asses you put in the seats.
Mm-hmm.
And the promoter always got the first count. But when you see all these big guys that own all these territories that push themselves, see, that was what was wrong. And I know I'm getting off. If I'm getting off on the wrong track, I'm sorry, but
You go right ahead, man.
But my wrestling business is what I love and everything. But you see, this is what was wrong with territories. And I had people asking me before, I wish to go back to territory. No, you don't. You see, because the booker is going to push himself or the owner. That's the reason the heels did real good in the business because of that. And my dad told me, because he was during the territory days too. My dad told me, says, listen to me, Ricky, you need to find a partner and go into tag team wrestling, which I did. I had a bunch of partners, Sonny King, Eddie Gilbert. One of the guys that taught me everything that I really know in this business is Ken Lucas. We was there. And then, see, and the reason why is that, because, see, the booker's going to push himself to be the main event, or the owner's going to push himself to be the main event. Mm-hmm. But you always got to have a semi-main event.
Right.
You understand me?
I understand.
And the semi-main events is, my dad told me, he said, young, good-looking baby faces, ball, you draw these people right here. And it worked. You honestly worked. Go ahead.
I heard you talking on another interview about the A team and the B team, and the legendary Wahoo McDaniels had told Dusty, I'll be on the B team, have the rest on the A team. Talk about that to me.
Oh, yes. If anybody's out there and you never got to know Wahoo, I hope right now I can explain to you. Wahoo was a big tough Indian, but he was the nicest, sweetest man you ever met in your life, but you didn't want to cross him.
Oh, no.
And Wahoo would always tell you what's on his mind. We were, it was an A team and B team, but the B team outdrew the A team 100 times. You understand me? We outdrew them 100 times, and we wouldn't even have no card. Wahoo, it was me, Robert, and Wahoo. Wahoo would be the semi-main event, and we'd go all over the place wrestling.
Yeah, so, Dick Murdoch also, too. Dirty Dick.
Yes, Dick Murdoch did the same thing, too. He asked, we was all sitting there together, and, had Dusty come in. He goes, all right, boys, y'all ready to go back on the 18? Wahoo and Dick Murdoch both looked at each other. He says, well, hell no, we make more money on the B team, you see. And are you there? Okay. And but it was great. But see, this is what was so bad about our business back then. Either the booker or the owner would only push themselves, and it was hard to get over. And the only reason that this happened, you remember, I don't know if you remember or you read anything about this, when Vince McMahon started running in everybody's territory, and it just pissed every promoter in the world off.
And Ole Anderson loved him, didn't he?
Huh?
I said, Ole Anderson loved Vince McMahon, didn't he? I'm being sarcastic.
Now, but what I'm trying to say to you, so everybody got together and is going to run a big show and do a bunch of tapings and send them up New York. Mm-hmm. I don't know whoever's brainstorm that was, but they done it. But it was the best thing that ever happened to Robert and I. Bill Watts on Mid-South Wrestling out of Louisiana.
Yes.
Arkansas.
Yes.
Texas, Mississippi, mm-hmm. Oklahoma. He was there that night bringing his guys, and they had a bunch of matches. And a matter of fact, that's in Memphis, the Fabulous Ones was Jared's boys.
Right.
So we played second fiddle to them. Mm-hmm. Now, but when it came to that match that night, they put all these matches together, and all these promoters brought their top guys in, and everybody worked. Matter of fact, Robert and I put somebody over. Okay, but when the show was over, they had a big meeting in the back, and they're talking, and all these promoters are talking. Yeah, we need to do this, and we need to do this, and we do. Hey, listen, and Eddie Graham. Remember Eddie Graham?
Yes. He
was promoter in Florida. Mm-hmm. Smart guy. He taught Dusty. And listen to me, I watched every move that Dusty did. So going back now, they had the big meeting. He said, Eddie Graham stood up and said, yeah, everybody's talking about, but all of you guys are talking about the guys that works your territory that we think we need to push. He said, I don't know about y'all. But that Rock and Roll Express team right there, that boy, especially that boy with the blonde hair, he didn't know my name. He goes, he sewed for 20 minutes and never buried his partner. Yeah. I don't know about y'all. Y'all can use the head, but I think that's the babyface team that you need to push. Okay? And that was all that was said. And then, and what I'm saying is that Bill Watts is getting ready to retire. He owns his territory. And he did, and listen to me now, he didn't want a booker that wrestled.
Right.
You see, because Bill Watts was the owner. He can't push it. He ain't going to push himself because he's not there no more. And he don't want a booker that would push himself.
Right. So
he brought Bill Dundee as a booker. And he couldn't wrestle. Guys, I mean, we're the Rock and Roll Express. They shot videos. They didn't have music back in those days. And here come Robert and I in with them videos on TV. And boy.
Oh, by the way, I'm a big Electric Light Orchestra fan. I love Jeff Lynne and ELO. So you and I have that in common. Yes.
Rock.
There you go. Good stuff.
But when this happened, see, it was something new. I mean, they've been having wrestling matches, where Bill Watts is, and don't get me wrong, dude. I mean, I think Abdullah the Butcher was the top babyface.
What?
Yes, but see, this is the reason why. Because Bill just beat Abdullah when he was a heel. You see? But now they got to turn Abdullah babyface. You hear me?
I never remember Abdullah being
when the next heel comes in, he can beat Abdullah. Then Abdullah leaves and Bill Watts wrestles that heel. You see what I'm saying? That's how business worked.
But I swear to God,
that's how business worked.
Right. I never remember Abdullah being a babyface.
Yeah, well, for Bill, he was just there for a minute because, Bill doesn't beat him. Bill needs another heel, so that heel's got to beat Abdullah. And then Abdullah's gone. You see, that was business. That was territory days. That's how it worked in every territory.
It switched around. It turned around.
Yeah, and you didn't want, and boy, I mean, and get me, and to be who we were and to be our gimmick, and we blew open Mid-South territory. I mean, I'm talking about from National Guard armories to the superplexes to the Superdome. And I'm serious, buddy. And this all happened within about 6 months. Matter of fact, I was just reading Bill Watts' book not long ago. He had his territory for 12 years. 12 years.
Right.
He made more money in the 2 years while Robert and I worked on top than he made the whole 10 years before that. So that's a big compliment to us. And then so we went on. I didn't know Dusty, but they brought us into Jim Crockett's promotion.
But
you got to see, we had a hell of a run. The Midnight Express with
Jimmy Cornette.
Yeah, but see, that started in Memphis, and then it's what blew Louisiana plumb out of the water, because you had Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, which, in my opinion, were two of the best heels with Jimmy Cornette at that time.
They were a great tag team, no doubt.
Oh my God! And everything worked, and they knew how to get heat. They knew how to keep their heat. It's nowadays. And I try, because I work with guys and I work with them, but most of the time I'd be better off talking to that wall to make them understand. If you're a heel, sneak and get that heat, and you screw the baby face. And for instance, I'll tell you this right here. I went to GCW to work, make a lot of money a night. You hear me? And Brett Lauderdale, I'm wrestling Effie, and Brett Lauderdale come to me, and him and Effie, and they wanted me to beat Effie. You hear me?
Okay.
And I told him, I said, what happened?
No, somebody's turn it off.
What's that?
Kevin, turn it off. No, I know.
Turning it off.
You're good. You're good, Ricky. Somebody else.
Okay, I got you.
You're good. Go ahead.
But to get more out of that, they wanted me to beat Effie. And I told Brett Lauderdale, with Effie sitting there, I said, listen, Brett, I don't want to beat Effie. And they looking at me like, what the hell? I said, you don't want to beat him? I said, no. I said, because if I beat him, I can't wrestle him no more. I already beat him.
Right.
You understand me? This is what the people these days don't understand.
Right.
The people pay their money to see you to beat this heel, and you got an angle going, but he screws you every time until you have the big blow off. Now, let me tell you, I make a lot of money for GCW. And just by me saying that, I've made more. I've been for GCW 40 or 50 times. Okay. You understand? Because they know that they're starting to figure out what the business is about. And it's like the young guys in our business. They don't have a clue. Mm-hmm. I was at a show the other night, and you had your underneath matches, and they're flying all over the place and doing this. And I'm trying to tell them, I said, guys, please, I know what you're doing, and you think you're doing it great, but you're on the road to make a career in professional wrestling, and you're going to break your back and legs before you even have an opportunity to have your first match, because you're doing stupid shit. Right. Stupid shit. Right now, you just want to get in a ring and learn. Wrestle somebody that's better than you and learn. It's not about watching Monday Night Raw and doing everything they did on TV. I think it's the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I cannot watch the new stuff anymore. The stuff right now that's going on in wrestling, I can't watch that.
Yes, I got you. It makes no sense. When you have done this for 50 years of your life, right, and then you watch TV and you go, what the hell are they doing? When I don't understand it, what you think the people do? And I'm not saying that I have the answers to everything, that I know everything. But one damn thing I can tell you for sure is I know the wrestling business. Right. And I do it, and I see it. When you pop territories, not 1, 2, but when you pop 3 of them, and then when I was younger with other guys, I knew how to draw money because I sold. If you ever watch the match, go back. One of the greatest matches, and even Steve Austin told me this, if you ever get a chance to go watch this, it's Starrcade 86. Mm-hmm. Robert and I wrestling Ole and Arn Anderson. You got to understand, I had to tell a story. See, I love telling that story when I'm selling. I'm telling that story, and I'm telling that story in the heels, and boom. When I first met Ole Anderson, he didn't like me. He thought I was too small.
Ole Anderson is a trip. He is a trip. He's and so, but go ahead.
How did you meet Ole?
No, I've never met any of those, but I mean, I know when I know Ole's old and curmudgeon or whatever.
Well, not Ole. Ole was a tough old bastard.
Well,
Let
yeah.
me tell you, and it was Ole's way. So I'm going to tell you this. I did it after we had our little run with the Midnight Express, and we were starting our angle with Ole and Arn. This is before the cage match. You've seen it Starcade.
Right.
But they did an angle where they did something and boom. And listen here, and Ole, Ole, at first, I didn't think he even liked ice cream. He didn't like shit,
I heard you.
Yeah.
I heard you say that on somebody else's one. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. He don't like nothing. So I'm wrestling him, and, it's a hot thing. So me and Robert hit the ring, and Robert goes with Arn, and I'm with Ole. I done hit Ole 7,000 times. And he's standing in the corner holding the ropes. And finally, I let go. I just quit. I turned around, walked to the middle of the ring, and took a big old bump. And
you what?
Sudden, I just took a big bump on my back.
Yeah.
And Ole goes, "What'd you do that for?" I said, "You wouldn't go down, so I thought I would." Now, you wouldn't know this, but Ole says, "I don't know whether to whoop your ass or pat you on the back."
Yeah, that's funny.
He says, "You're smarter than I thought you were, kid." Mm-hmm. And then after that, Ole be on the top ropes, and he did everything. Would work with me all night long, just like watch the Starcade, 1986.
Right.
Us in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just the story that you're told. See, and nowadays, it's not the storytelling anymore.
No.
They drag on shit. And you drag on shit.
Yeah, it's more like, I don't know.
Yes.
It's like the theme and all other stuff going on. Yeah.
I really don't know what's happening with WWE right now. I mean, I know they sold the UFC, and I don't know what they're going to do there. But I promise you, they need to start, just tell a little storytelling.
Yeah.
Just make that right. Who's that in the background back there?
That's my friend Kevin.
What's your name?
Kevin. How you doing, Ricky? I will talk later. You keep up.
I'm always good. Where y'all from?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia. We're all from Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, buddy. You know what? I don't know if you know this, but I beat Ric Flair for the world.
Well, now we're going to get into that. I heard you say that. I want to now and I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Yes.
That was in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, okay. Well, since you're already there with it, let's talk about it. Now, yeah. I don't remember because I used to go to all of the most of the places or most of the cards in Richmond.
Yeah.
And I know the story, but I'll have you tell the story.
Well, it was, me and Flair. Well, the reason the whole thing started with me and Flair is because Magnum TA had a car wreck.
Yes.
Paralyzed.
Yes. Unfortunately,
and they were really building Magnum to be the world champion.
Right.
With Flair, that was
exactly
the whole thing. And then Magnum had the car wreck.
Right.
Well, now they're in a position, and somehow Robert wasn't at TV or something, and I'm wrestling a match, and Ric Flair, which Rick is the one that even got us to NWA, because NWA were building to go nationwide, and Rick come into Louisiana and seen us, and he went back and told Jimmy Crockett, he said, "You got to see these boys down in Louisiana." They call themselves the Rock and Roll Express, and that's another story, another time. But
Rick is the man. I love Ric Flair. He is a national treasure.
Hey, double that. And I'm saying that. Listen to me. Hulk Hogan is a great icon. You understand me? He's the one that really started to change business and get that national exposure to do this right here. But Ric Flair was the real heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you hear me?
I know it.
Because let me tell you, I know.
Woo!
I wrestled him. Our Broadways. I mean, I tell you what, we did 17 of them. Our time limit matches, and that's twice on Saturday and twice on Sunday, straight in a row. And then when it was over, we did an hour and a half. And then I wrestled everywhere, but in Richmond, Virginia,
yeah,
I beat Rick for the belt. Now, You got to understand when you're a tag team and you got to and you work for a booker, sometimes you get over too much. And I'm telling you, buddy, you get over too much. So Richmond, Virginia, I went out and I really didn't even know. You understand?
What year was that? What year was that?
Probably 86.
86.
Or
Okay.
around 86 or 87. It had to be 87, the first of
See,
it.
I don't remember, but go ahead. Yeah, I don't remember
But
that.
I didn't know either. I didn't know I was winning. You know, I thought I was going out of Broadway.
Okay.
And I went out and I beat Rick, but they did a finish where I could win or not win.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me?
Right.
So I won the belt, and I came back and they took me in a room. And don't get me wrong, I'm the kind of guy in this world that if I give you my word, I keep it, because that's who I am.
That's right.
That's my bond. And now I'm going to come back to what you're saying. And this is me too. Somebody asked me one time, how come you pray? How come you believe in God? I said, because he gives me a peace of mind. Okay? He gives me something to believe in, and he gives me peace of mind where I can forgive and not hurt and do this kind of stuff. So when I'm loyal to somebody, I'm loyal to you. It's not a piece of paper. It's not. It's just me telling you that.
All right.
Well, I came back and they took me in a room and says, listen, won the world title, so we're going to have to let Robert go, because he's going to have to put people over that you beat, and you're going to have to beat him too. And all this stuff right here.
Who was the booker then? Dusty?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now listen, after all the years, they finally made me one. Okay. But I had Scott Morton on it too.
Okay.
But I had to I tell them, I says, I don't want it. And they looked at me like I had a pile of shit on my head. You don't want it. No. I made Robert a promise. And I made, I says, we started the Rock and Roll Express. Jerry Lawler started us. But I looked for that tag team partner. And understand me, I'm not trying to say I'm not, and I tell the truth. Robert was that perfect person for me to give that hot tag to, because I sold. I told the story by selling, and to give Robert that hot tag. And you know what? And sometimes it's compliments, because, Dusty used to tell me all the time. And see, this is what's wrong with what people don't understand. Dusty told me, he said, you're the only kid, only baby face in the world that understands what I'm talking about when I want to do an angle. He said, you do it perfect every time. And see, that's the part about selling, and me giving Robert that hot tag, and boom, boom, and we'd go into our finishes. But no, I wouldn't do that. And then it got to the point where the corporate business was coming in. And to tell you the truth, they done bought airplanes and bought all this stuff for here. And they fired me and Robert. Okay.
So that was that. So after all of that, it was like the latter part of '86.
It was right after, it had to be like the summer or the spring of '87. Because I already did my thing with Flair, and I was there in '86 with.
And then of course Flair was doing his thing with Jimmy Garvin and Precious.
Yes, and you know what?
I loved that. It was funny as crap. When, of course, I'm not big on Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie Garvin was good. I mean, but when Flair was dolling himself up for Patsy or Patricia, Jimmy Garvin's wife or whatever, he got all dolled up, and then J.J. Dillon was there. He said, "Can I stay? Can I stay?" I love it.
Oh, I got you. You know what? Since you said that, that's pretty cool. I live here in Bristol, Tennessee.
My mother, who's deceased, lived on the border, the line of Bristol, Virginia, and Tennessee line. She lived on the street.
That's down there at State Street.
Yes.
But I live right here by the racetrack.
Okay.
on the mountain up here. I live on
There
the
you go.
mountains.
Yeah.
Okay. And other day I was in the gym working out, and Lord and behold, I turned around and looked, and there's Ronnie Garvin.
Mm.
Ronnie Garvin moved back to Bristol. He lived
Oh, is it
up
where,
in
is where
West
he's at now?
Virginia.
Okay.
He lived up there in Horseshoe, West Virginia, somewhere up there in the
Okay.
mountains. But I didn't know his wife was from here in Bristol.
Right.
So they came back and bought him a home here and lives here.
Isn't
That's
he?
great.
Isn't he Canadian?
Yes, he's Canadian.
Okay. And I don't know this, but is Jimmy and Ron related at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just a coincidence.
No. You know, and Ronnie Garvin's not even his real name either. You don't understand it. And
I didn't
Jimmy
know that.
Garvin is not even Jimmy's real name.
Okay.
Okay. Robert Gibson's not his real name. I think I'm the only one in the business has his real name, Ricky Morton. Okay.
Okay.
So
and then Ricky Steamboat is Richard Blood or Henry Blood.
something like, I don't know, but his name's Richard.
Richard.
But getting back to what I was saying, this is when all this happened and transformed, you know, it just, I'm loyal. I wouldn't take that. And I wouldn't do that. And wanting me to do things, you know, and then Robert got his knee hurt and they wanted to put me with Brad Armstrong and be the new Rock and Roll Express, and which would have been great. Do you understand me?
I hear you.
I could have gave him a hot tag. It could have been great, but I was loyal to it. Okay. Yeah. And when you're loyal to do something, you got to do that. So now,
stick to your guns. Yeah.
Robert got hurt. So now I'm there by myself. Well, after they done fired us, we come back. Then WCW come in there with their corporate business, and you know, and then here these guys are signing themselves to $10 million contracts. And you know, and I went to them just wanting a job. Oh, we not giving contracts out. I put the goddamn ring up. You understand me? I just need a job. This is all I know. Still wouldn't happen.
Right.
But then finally, you know, I was without thing. Robert's gone. And they wouldn't put me on contract. But we said, if you want to stay and have a job, we want to put you with Terry Taylor with the York Foundation.
Yeah, and you were a heel for a short time. You were a heel.
Yeah, and we you know, got mixed up in the whole thing there, and then we was a lost cause. We did great. We was a lost cause, but Terry Taylor, what a fun partner.
Yeah, Terry Taylor. Yeah,
you know, he was fun. He was with Terry Reynolds. You know what? A matter of fact, not long ago, we was over in Charlotte, and Robert had his hip replaced, and he couldn't wrestle. And I'm just looking around, and me and Robert posted a bit in the match that night against the Headbangers. And I'm looking around, and I see Tommy Rich, I see Terry Reynolds, and I see Curtis Hughes. And I just look at the motor. I said, why don't the York Foundation wrestle them tonight? They're all here. And you know what? And the people popped like a son of a gun when we came out that door. You know, it's just like it was nothing happened. But then, you know, that's just the tales of the cribs.
Wasn't Mike Rotundo part of that too?
After I left.
Okay.
Yeah. See, because I did Robert got better. And then Washington at the pay-per-view, Capital Combat or something, I wrestled Robert with Terry Reynolds, and I hit him with a computer and beat him. And then me and him went to the back, and we left and went to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the last territory of the business. You hear me? Right. And it was, you know what? I didn't get rich, and I didn't make a lot of money, but my mind was free, and I enjoyed what it did.
You never went to Vince. You never went to Vince at all.
Well, we did. Now listen to me. I'm in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I never even wrestled WWE.
Yeah.
Now, we did a thing for Survivor Series for them, but it's where we shot an angle with the Heavenly Bodies.
Okay.
We went up there and put them over on Survivor Series. We wasn't working for them. But that was to come back to Smoky Mountain Wrestling because they were going to WWF. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when we come back and had our loser leave town at the Blue Crest Brawl in Pikeville, Kentucky, everybody thought we were going to lose.
Right.
Do you understand me? Because they beat us on WWE. And then we went back at Jimmy Cornette. If you get a chance to ever look that up, the Bluegrass Brawl, loser leave town.
Okay.
Us against the Heavenly Bodies. Greatest finish in the world for wrestling. Jimmy Cornette come up with it. It's great. And look here, man, because somebody thought we were losing. Jimmy Cornette always gets it real good. He said, when the 1, 2, 3, the fans were throwing their babies in the air, and they
Jimmy Cornette. It's interesting about Jim Cornette now because he was a photographer way back when during the thing between Andy Kaufman and
Jerry Lawler.
How am I doing?
I was there.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler. Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler.
But Jimmy Cornette was a photographer way before that too.
Yeah.
He was and the way you become a manager is because everybody hated him. You hear me?
Yeah.
Jerry Jarrett told him, I was standing there and he was talking about Jerry Jarrett was a very smart man. I love Jerry Jarrett. Jerry Jarrett taught me a lot.
Right.
We get into that in a minute. Taught me a lot about this business. He told Jimmy Cornette, he says, listen, Jimmy, if you can get enough heat with the crowd, as you do the boys back here, we're going to make $1 million. And see, that's what sells, and nobody understands that. Nowadays, you see these guys get on TV, and they're trying to press each other with their interviews. They're trying to say this to impress and to be funny and to be that.
Right.
But none of them has a fucking...
Like I said, it's unwatchable. The stuff right now is unwatchable. The only reason why I might watch is to see Charlotte Flair wrestle.
Yes.
Or see Becky wrestle.
She's wonderful. Yeah. Hey, and if you ever get a chance, if you ever watch NWA, watch our girls on there. I think we had the best bunch of girl wrestlers.
Yeah. Well, you had, yeah.
And I do. I think we had the best bunch of girl wrestlers because they're hungry. You understand me? But we're not, they're not making $2 million a year and took $3 million off endorsements and trying to get to they're trying to get to where they can do that. And it's really, really great. But I was getting back to Jimmy, and it's he was just a natural for this business. Jimmy has a podcast, and I was talking.
Well, yeah, I see his podcast all the time. He's got his own hookup.
And some guys ask me about this all the time, and a lot of them want to beat his ass when I see him, and this, that. Listen to me, fella. Jimmy Cornette makes more off his podcast a month than them guys ever even dreamed of. Jimmy Cornette became Jimmy Cornette by talking about your ass. You hear me? And if you're not smart to that, you need to quit our business. If he's getting to you on his podcast, and it's all right what he says, it never matters.
Yeah. He's always got the tennis racket there in his hand, ready to play tennis. Yeah.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
Guys, smarten up to our business and listen to me. And even if you don't like it, at least he's mentioning you on his podcast, and more people watch that than they do WWE. So shut the fuck up.
Right. Of course.
Check out this man's podcast. It's one of the best.
Well, no, I do what I can. No.
Anyway, Ricky, it's pleasure meeting you. I have to leave. But you keep up the good work, all right?
We're still on.
Thank you, buddy.
I'm going.
Okay. All right. We're still on. We're still on. Okay. So what was I going to say? Give me an Andre the Giant. Give me some stories about Andre the Giant.
I loved Andre, okay? But I wasn't around him that much.
You weren't around him that much?
I knew Andre before he become that big superstar.
Right.
On WWE. I'm older than Andre. We was,
and you're still alive.
I was a kid too,
Yeah.
And I remember when I wrestled for Nick Goulis, I had to rent a big old van with only one seat in the back, a great big one. And that's where he had to sit in. And then, and I always ride it, or I'd be driving it because they rent the van and I have to drive him. But boy, he'd drink. Holy shit. But I never forget one time we're we're in the dressing room, and it's a big old wooden bench. And I'm sitting almost beside Andre. And Andre's sitting here. And we're just here. But look here. Andre bent over, and he farted so loud. I mean, out here, everybody's looking, and I'm sitting on the bench, and I start doing this right here. And I go all the way to the end of the bench and fall off in the floor.
There you go.
Loved it. But
he was a trip.
Andre liked me. You hear me? He always did. He just, he was, he called everybody boss. I seen, we was in some town one night, and he done drank, holy shit. But he's sitting in a chair in the lobby, and he tapped out. Look at him, he tapped out in the lobby. And here, Anders and them, they trying to tell me I got to get him up to his room. I said, you had to call AAA to get him up, man. Move him.
Just imagine him on top of you.
Yeah, and I told, the police come. I said, man, you can't move him. I said, look, I told him, I said, get a bed sheet, throw over, and put a flower pot on top of his head. But even the police said, man, we can't move him. Can't wake him up. They try to,
Did you ever wrestle him?
Out.
Did you ever wrestle him?
No. I never wrestled him. I didn't.
Right.
I just there wasn't no need to. You understand me? You see, I wish you could have watched me when I was real younger. See, this is how I got a job because, and listen, when I'm in the ring, if I can make that guy on the front row believe what this heel is doing to me and how I can outsmart that heel to do it and make him believe that, what do you think about that guy that's up there in the top balcony?
It's all theatrical, and that's good. But it's also, you have to have the stamina, the stamina. You have to have the strength. You have to have the endurance. So it is, all of that. But
it was different then. You understand me?
Yeah.
We kayfabed. People believed.
Yeah.
A lot of them did. It was always that doubt. You hear me? Always that doubt. That fans would tell me, oh, that fast up there was fake, but boy, yours is real. But see, this is what I'm trying to get to you. If I could just make that guy at the balcony, what about the people on TV? What are they thinking? Mm-hmm. I sold like it was real. And when I got in the ring to work with guys, especially the big guys, see, I never outpowered them, outsmarted them, and every one of them. But what I was telling you a while ago, if I can make that person on that front row, but the main point is the guy that I'm wrestling, if I can make him think I'm hurt. How many times, my nickname in the business is Punky, like Arn Anderson and Tully, and, I'll be wrestling, and they go, damn, Punky, you okay? That's a compliment. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm doing my job.
Right.
I did a podcast with Terry Reynolds' daughter, maybe a couple of years ago. And she told me this. She says, I asked my grandpa, which is Dusty Rhodes. She asked him, she goes, besides yourself, who was the greatest baby face and worker that was in this business? She looked at him in the face, said Ricky Morton was the best ever. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Because I did. When I was going to do an angle, Dusty would come and talk to me. And this is, some of the agents, I'm not trying to knock nobody, but when you're an agent in this business, sometimes you got to let things speak for themselves and do things. I know in WWE, I don't know if it still is, but they tell you how to walk to the ring. They tell you which leg to put in the ring first.
Right.
That's the reason nothing's good.
Do me a Dusty Rhodes imitation. I got to hear it.
Dusty Rhodes?
Give an imitation.
Listen, do you ever see Dusty do an interview on TV?
Yeah, we have.
He starts out being 3-time world champion.
High times. I can't do it, but
you Dusty Rhodes. 5-time NWA world champion. But by the time the interview over, you have to remember 18-time world champion. You know, I can't do Dusty either.
He had a very unique way about it.
I'm not trying to be me. Me and Dusty had a many FU fights, but boy, did I respect him and did I love him.
Right.
I mean, I loved him as much as his, and I'm sorry, I'm not his true blood, but I loved him as much. I spent a lot of time with him. He'd call me down to the office and he'd explain angles to me. I'm not the smartest guy, but I learned everything I learned from Dusty Rhodes.
Who was a better booker? Who was a better booker, Dusty or Ole?
Better worker?
Better booker.
Oh, Dusty. Yeah. God, Dusty popped territories everywhere he went.
Okay.
You see? And it's according on your crew, too. You see, only thing with Ole, he didn't like small guys. You see what I'm saying? And your small guys is what draw you girls. You small guys is what can make the people believe what you're doing.
Right.
And that's the way they put it. And a lot of people just don't understand that, man.
Right. Yeah, make them believe, no doubt about it. Any reaction ever had a thing with Ronnie Piper? Anything with him?
Oh, I just knew him. I never worked with him.
You never worked with Ronnie Piper?
No, Ronnie was my friend. I never worked with him. You know, I was a kid in territories and he was there. You know, he was always, like I told you, I treated people the way they treated me. And Ronnie,
he was nice.
Ronnie, he always treated me good, and I treated him back good.
Yeah, and then of course Ricky Steamboat.
And what you don't understand in today's businesses, but I was back in territories. You know, one time, man, I wrestled every territory in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I wrestled Oklahoma, I wrestled Texas, I wrestled Kansas City.
You've been around.
Yeah, I started, you know, I had to go. And that's what I tell guys in the business today. I mean, if you want this business, you got to go get it. They're not going to come and knock on your door because, and these guys don't understand. They do all these 4 flips out on the floor, blah, blah, and they think that it's not going to get you a job. You hear me? That's not going to get you a job.
Right.
When you learn to work, that'll get you a job. But what I'm saying is then, you know, and they don't have that these days, is the boys depended on each other. You see, I depended on the Midnight Express to sell out this town. You understand me? They depended on me to sell out this town. The underneath boys depended on us to sell out the towns, because if you wasn't, you didn't work on top. Now it don't matter. They just do this go because it's like a lot of things. And I will. And I want to put this together like something. I might be bad or might be wrong, or it might not be the right thing to say. But, you know, as these businesses went corporate, I live here in Bristol. You know, you have the Bristol NASCAR race down here.
Right. And like I said, my mom lives right on that same street. Used to live there, but yeah.
Yes. But now listen, when I first moved here in the 90s, dude, when the race come to town, I mean, I tell you how they willed the tickets in death. You couldn't get a ticket. It holds 160,000 people. And now you noticed. Have you noticed? Which you don't care. WWE don't care. You know, it all turned corporate. They get paid anyway. You understand me? TV pays them ungodly money. You know, in the NASCAR, and they forgot about the fans. You know, I was here and I did this weekend. The guy that I know it works as a jar, and it's hard to make it these days, boys. I'm not kidding you. It's hard to make it, especially if you got a family, you little kids. And I was talking to him. I said, "You going to the race?" He says, "God, I would love to." He said, "But hell, I can't afford to go." He says, "It's just for me and my 2 kids and wife to go. It's my house note for a month." He says, "Do you realize that? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?"
I'm hearing you.
Yes. This? Okay.
Yes.
He couldn't afford it. And I couldn't afford it. But I went and got him 4 tickets for him and his family to go.
Right.
Okay. I'm not rich by no means.
Right.
But God told
Who
me.
is?
God told me to. You hear me?
God told you to do it.
But he got to go. But see, this is what they forgot. You know, I have been at Bristol here in the last couple of years where you used to have 160,000 traffic and be backed up for 100 miles. Look here. Now they have a race down there. You could throw a hand grenade in there and it wouldn't kill nobody. You see, because it's all corporate.
Right.
They get paid no matter what. You know, you have NASCAR. NASCAR ain't NASCAR no more. You don't have. Matter of fact, they did good Friday night at the Xfinity race, and the reason why, so you had Dale Jr. there, you know, and he's a big draw.
Right.
People come to see him,
right.
And but these other race car drivers, and it's the same thing about the. I'm not trying to knock them, but I'm trying to compare it to our wrestling.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit no more. And you watch the wrestlers on TV; they don't care about you. I mean,
well, like I said, the only time I watch the new wrestling is the women. That's it.
Yeah, look here, they would, you know, they suplex you off the top rope to the concrete floor.
No,
they're lucky, in which people have died, but they're lucky they just can't even walk.
Yeah,
I still love my business. Now, have you seen my kid, Eddie? Have you seen my son, Kerry?
I have heard about Kerry. So yes, I think I've seen Kerry on another podcast.
No, Kerry is badass. He's the future of our business.
Yeah.
He was a junior heavyweight champion for NWA for a while, but now we're moving up. And let me tell you too, and people always cuss he's Ricky Morton's son. No, he's been training since he's 5 years old. You
right.
hear me? He understands the business.
Right.
Matter of fact, he's over marketing for NWA. He's a senior. That's what he's taken in college. And our business has picked up a whole bunch since then. But see, it's not what sometimes, like Ric Flair come to me one time and he says, "Hey, I just met your son, Kerry." He said, "I never met a kid so well-mannered, so respectful in my life." And he asked me, he says, "Andrew here, that's my wife." I said, "Yeah, she's over there. What you need?" He said, "I want to find out who the real daddy is." No, but it's like that. It's really, really, our business is so cool, man. Yeah. And I love it. I still love. That's the reason I work for NWA. See, I'm 67 years old. I don't.
Again, you don't look it. You look younger than that. I'm just giving you the props.
Oh, buddy, look here, I like that. But
no, but you look younger than that.
I go to the gym every day, buddy. I work out, I run every day. But that's not what I'm saying. A lot of people, especially hard times, especially your stupid ass marks. Okay, you have a lot of them. Yeah. A lot of them that they know everything about our business, but stop. They don't know nothing.
Right.
A lot of independent promoters think they know everything. They know nothing about my business, okay? Nothing. Why don't you retire? Why don't you get out of the ring? I says, because if I do that, I'm one of the last of the dinosaurs. If you ever get a chance to work with me, okay? You ever get a chance to work with me in the ring and you've been on the independent circuit for 5 years, I would teach you more in 15 minutes than you knew in that whole 5 years. Yeah. About our business. And when I'm gone, there ain't no more. So you guys that are knocking me and putting me down, you ought to be glad that I'm still doing it. For all right. To teach you what my business is about, huh?
Right. Well, when I think of tag teams, I remember the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. They're the two tag teams that I remember. Went back in the day.
We would go down in history, I think, as the greatest feud in tag team wrestling. Right. And it only lasted for 20 years. So it went, and it still goes on. You know what? You go to Independence, and if Bobby was still alive, and Dennis and him, I mean, look here, we'd still sell out. I'm serious.
I want to name some wrestlers' names that have passed, and I'll just give me your opinion about some of these wrestlers in the past. We'll start off because, so like I said, Ricky Steamboat. You've ever worked with Ricky Steamboat?
Whoa, greatest baby face.
Yeah, babyface also.
Greatest baby face in the world.
But well, you and him together.
Somebody, look at Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
I love Ricky, and somebody asked him, says, Ricky Steamboat, who's the best baby face in the world? He said, Ricky Morton, but he stole all my shit. But
all right, Paul Jones.
Who?
Paul Jones.
Oh, Paul Jones is a manager in North Carolina. I like Paul. He stuck around the Carolinas for a long time. Worked in the office there. A lot of people didn't get along with him, but I did. I treated people the way they treated me.
Exactly. Ivan Koloff, Russian Bear.
The Beast. He was a machine.
And he made you believe in his gimmick.
Well, when we came in to to NWA before we hooked up with you have to get us over. We're the All-American boys, and naturally, Dusty's a genius. Yeah. He puts us in the ring with the Russians. You understand me? Yeah. And all that. That's all the conflict of the United States is going on from Russia, and Ivan was from Canada too. But you see, he was a workhorse.
Right.
Our Broadways, me and Robert with him all night, and we had Nikita and had Barry Dorso, which was really good in the business, but still a little green. We do our Broadways. I would stay in there 40 minutes. He was the workhorse of our business. Real respected man.
The exotic Adrian Street.
Well, excuse me. Adrian, he did his little, Adrian did his gimmick, but if you ever knew Adrian, he would take your head and stick it up your ass. He was a tough son of a bitch. But listen to me, at that time, you had to be tough to do that gimmick. Okay.
Was he gay?
Who's this?
Was Adrian gay? Maybe I didn't know that. Was Adrian Street gay? Was he gay?
What? No, he was married to Miss Linda.
Okay.
I don't know. But listen to me, I don't know.
Yeah.
But see, let me tell you something about Ricky Morton. I don't care who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
Just be yourself, and I love you.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know if that was a true gimmick.
No, that's why I'm saying he did that gimmick back then. You had to be a tough son of a bitch to do it. No, but Miss Melinda was his wife.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the day. Barry Windham.
Barry, second generation too. Barry was a tremendous worker. Big boy. He followed in his dad's footsteps. He was part of the Four Horsemen. Part of anything. And see, this is, God, I wished I could really, I know I'm talking about Barry, but I wished I could bring people back like them into the business, because the guys, especially when you're on an independent show, these guys, they got about as much business being in the ring as me flying the space shuttle. But see, when you have somebody that it was so easy to work with Barry, because he knew. You understand me? He knows. You don't got to do nothing. You don't got to hurt me. You don't got to do this. You don't got to sling me. You don't got to shoot me out of a fucking cannon.
Gotcha.
Just
Junkyard Dog.
Huh?
Junkyard Dog.
Sylvester Ritter.
Yes.
My good friends. Dog got killed. He made a promise that he'd go to his daughter's high school graduation, and he drove from Louisiana all the way over to North Carolina, and on the way back, he fell asleep driving and killed his dog. Sylvester was a real good friend of mine. I actually loved him, and what a sweetheart he was, too. What a heart of gold he had.
Mm-hmm. Good guy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go Tully Blanchard.
Tully Blanchard.
I know there's a story there.
Well, no, it's over and done with. But you know what? I went out to Portland, I went out to Kansas City, and I went to Oklahoma. I went back to Memphis, and then I went to San Antonio, Texas, to work for his dad. And Tully was the booker. Okay. And instantly, just by me selling, next thing I know, I'm with me and Ken Lucas are in the main events in Houston, Texas, and San Antonio with him and Gino. And you see, all it was because I sold, and I sold right. Then the next thing you know, I'm main event in San Antonio with Nick Bockwinkel at 23 years old, going out on Broadway.
Wow.
And over in Houston. So it's things happening there, but I love people. Tully's one of the first one to give me my biggest break in the business. I'm serious.
There you go.
Okay.
And the late Terry Funk.
Ricky, God damn it. Terry was my friend.
He was crazy.
Not only that, Terry, if you knew, Terry was like Bobby Eaton. If you was Bobby Eaton was my best friend, but he was everybody's best friend. Terry Funk was the same boy. I'll tell you a story about Terry Funk. We was in Japan, Kawasaki, Japan, in a big baseball stadium, and it was so the hell out. And Terry's in I hope I can pronounce this right, I'm country, a fire match. All right. Where they blew fire and they did this right here. And I hear Terry, Ricky Morton, where the fuck are you at? And I'm going, damn, what did I do to piss him off? And I didn't. But I got up there and he had 2 big old 5-gallon cans of water. And there, you don't go up to the ring. They had the young boys all the way around the ring. He said, he pointed that finger and said, I don't give a shit what they say. You take these 2 buckets of water to the ring side, and if I'm on fire, put my ass out. Oh, yeah. And no, I had a problem getting up there, because them Japanese boys wasn't, and I got Terry, they come after him, they take off running. So Terry was, he was a hard worker too, man. He loved to
Well, and then of course, Arn Anderson, that's your buddy right there, right?
Arn Anderson, real good. Marty Lundy.
Yeah.
He was he's a natural to this business. Yeah, some guys, Marty got a break young in the business because he was a natural. He caught on real quick. And what a heel he was too. I didn't know when I never seen him, never met him, never been in the ring with him till I got to NWA. And I didn't know he was southpaw. Do you hear me? I didn't know he was a southpaw, so I thought Bone hit me. So he told me to block the punch, right? So I go to block the punch, bam, he hits me right upside the head.
Just like
southpaw.
That.
I didn't know it. I said, nigga, he hit me, and I went back, and I went, God damn, I dare you to tell me you're a southpaw. I didn't know you was left-handed.
Gotcha. Well, and then of course Wahoo. We've already talked about Wahoo McDaniels. You've loved him to death, basically.
My best friend in the world.
Wahoo McDaniels.
When Wahoo, he kidney problems and dialysis, and I kept in touch with him. And one day he called me. He says, Ricky, sold all my stuff here in Charlotte, and I'm going to head to Odessa, Texas. Even sold my car. I'm going to fly home. I said, damn, Wahoo, I won't be able to see you now. He goes, no, I don't want you to see me. Going home to die. He says, I can't do this dialysis anymore. And I'm going home to die.
Damn.
And he told me, he says, so right now I'm telling you on the phone that I love you. And I loved him. And I cried. And he says, please don't come and see me. He didn't want me to see him that way. Okay. And I respected him for that.
That's hard. That's a hard one. No doubt about that.
Yes, sir. Damn right. It's a hard one.
Wow. But we've lost so many good, of course, when time goes on, we get older, we've lost so many people, some young, some old.
I lost a lot of my friends in this business, that you didn't even expect. Well, a lot of them are sick and they didn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to put back. And even if I don't like you, But every night, you can ask everybody this when I'm in the locker room. Before I leave, I go hug everybody's neck and tell them I love them. I always did.
So, Ricky, I don't want to get personal, but you are a devout Christian, correct?
I believe in God. Yes.
You believe in God.
You understand me? Yes. I mean, I'm not a preacher. I've seen, and it's hard. Yeah, I can say I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe Jesus died on the cross for our sins.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with that country today. I think the kids are not taught, about the love of Jesus Christ. They're not taught about, what, isn't it so bad? Because they not get here and they, just to be educated about God. That's what I wished I had the money to do that. I wish I had the money for and just go on the road and talk to kids and talk to people about how important it is in our life. Right. Because it gives you something to look at, gives you something to believe in. And it's not worth killing the guy over a street corner. You hear me? Because you're standing on the street corner. It's not worth getting killed for $5. And no matter who you are.
If you had to surmise, what do you think the biggest demise of the WCW? What made WCW go bye-bye?
Eric Bischoff. Okay.
Okay. I was waiting for that.
All of them, buddy.
I was waiting for that.
You cannot get in power control. All right. I love Eric. So Eric, if you hear this, I love you. I don't hate nobody. He's the one I went to one time to ask. Like, I talked to you for a minute, and he talked it, but I didn't want to talk to him about. I just wanted a job, and he turned his back on me. You hear me? I just wanted a job. It didn't make a fuck. I would have put the ring up. I would have refereed. I just wanted a job. I had no job. I know nothing else, and I never had a damn contract. So I didn't do that, and hell, my biggest year in the business was $125,000. But when you get on there and you get these guys and you sign these contracts, but listen, good for him. He was a hell of a lot smarter than I was. When you sign yourself to tens of millions of dollars a year, and they didn't sign it with WCW, they signed it with Ted Turner, where Ted Turner had to pay him. And then, but WCW, Time Warner couldn't do it. They went bankrupt. Time Warner didn't, but WCW did. And then here's these guys. Well, they're a hell of a lot smarter than I am. They got paid a lot. They got paid for 3 years for not even being here after it closed down.
Right.
But that was millions and millions of dollars. So now that's what happened to it. And they forgot about, and I'm sorry, it wasn't about the wrestling business. It was about me. It's about me. You hear me? It's me.
All right.
That's what happened.
What do you, so Vince McMahon, we know that he is, I believe he has now pushed away from the WWE. He's now retired, I guess. So he's letting somebody, is he letting Triple H take the reins now or what?
I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I want to say this, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I know Vince. I knew him back when he first started.
Yeah.
And he was a hell of a guy to be around. He's funny and God, go drink with the boys and have them. But then he got that corporate billion, and then he became the most miserable son of a bitch in the world.
Got to his head.
He's got all this money, and he's probably sitting in that big mansion wherever he's at. But I promise you, he's a miserable motherfucker. But Vince, I know you back then. But you come and see me. This means you just be the boys and go have fun one night. Forget about your lock gates. Forget about this. His wife, she's the nicest woman I ever met in my life. Linda. Yeah, she is. She's the nicest lady I ever met in my life. She's real high spirited, and Vince ought to be lucky to have a woman like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm married too, people told me before too, so God, man, your wife's so nice. I said, yeah, come and visit a couple of days. You might change your damn mind. No, but I'm just kidding. Me and my wife would get along great. But this seems like to me everybody's miserable. Everybody's trying to stab each other in the back. Everybody's trying to do this. You know, you try to go to get a job and they tell you this and this. You can't do this. You can't do that. Shut the fuck up. I've been doing this for 50 fucking years. I know more than I even teach the guy that's ahead of you. I could teach you more in 15 minutes, in the last 20 years you've been here. Not about the corporate business, but about my business and what make people watch it and make people tune in on TV.
Right. Well, there you go. There you go. You were talking a little bit about Abdullah. There was about him. He couldn't speak English, or what was the thing with Abdullah now? Do you know he couldn't talk or he couldn't read, Abdullah?
Well, I don't know nothing about that.
You don't know that?
No,
okay.
Now, I'll tell you, I couldn't either. I didn't have an education. My wife taught me how to read. Okay.
Oh,
sure.
I had no idea.
No, it's what you think I'm so country for. I used to, I couldn't say shit with a mouthful, but it was just, no, I mean, it's a lot of people like that. Now Ronnie Garvin, he couldn't speak English when he came here. He was Canadian. He speak French,
French, parlez français, oui, comme ci, comme ça.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know, but.
Well, that's broken, yeah. It's basics.
No, Abdullah, I don't know. Abdullah's wife took care of him too. And Abby.
Abby, yeah.
You had to. Abby was a good guy. I loved him. The Iron Sheik. You see.
Iron Sheik, that's another one.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Iron Sheik on Howard Stern was hilarious. Yes. You see what Howard Stern?
Hey, but he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You hear me? And we the business lost a great time. But it's got to happen to all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good. Cool, buddy. What time we got here, fella?
Well, we are at, we've already done an hour and 12 minutes.
Okay, but listen.
It's up to you what you want to do. I mean, we've covered a lot. I got most of the, you answered the question about, because I was going to ask you about the belt when you won. I had no idea about that, but I heard it through another, thing. Venue.
But and I'm not trying to be rude. My dog, he's tearing me up. He's got a.
Okay, it's time to feed the dog.
But I want to tell you, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
For having me on your show.
Thank you. And
thank you
Ricky,
so much for caring about our business.
Yes.
And
Ricky,
and I still wrestle a lot up here.
Put a good word in for me from the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Tell him I want to interview him.
Tell Rick.
Yes.
I hope you got a couple of $100,000.
I tell you what, that's my idol right there. Yeah.
He's mine too.
Yes.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's every time I look here, it don't matter. I can see him in church and he'll lock up with me. I love Rick. Listen, buddy, you have a good night. And
you too, and we'll talk soon. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, buddy, thank you.
Take care.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.